All right, welcome to the Postgame Show presented by Rico. Amy Campbell, joined by Ike Reese and Fran Duffy. As always, an exciting win for the Eagles in Landover, Maryland. They take down Washington 37-27 in a game that score is a little deceiving because that was a close one, and I had to kind of remind myself to take a breath there until the end. Fran, I know we all have a lot of thoughts, but I think Ike is like bursting at the seams over here, so we're going to go to him first.
Well, I mean, just an exciting win. I mean, listen, the game, we've come to realize with this team, it's never going to be easy, right? They're never going to give us one of those Sundays where we can kick our feet up and they're up by double digits and we relax on our way to a victory. This is just the identity of this football team this year. We're going to have to sweat it out all the way through, but true to form and true to character of this coach and his team, they were resilient today. They're able to put out a big win on the road. Obviously, you would like for it to be a little easier, but in the bottom line, in the end, Amy, the only thing that matters is they walk away with a W.
Will Muschamp at Florida always used to say, no such thing as an ugly win.
No,
it's still a win.
that game was tighter than like my neck and my back right now. Like jumping up and down all over me after Greg Ward catches that touchdown. I'll just give you a peek behind the curtain here at what was going on in the studio when Greg Ward catches that touchdown.
I also want everyone to know at home that I had to move this table back into place just a moment ago because Ike was jumping up and down on Fran's shoulders. Okay, let's break this down.
I was a little excited. I was a little excited.
You know, it's very exciting. We got to get into it here. That's what makes it fun. All right, Myles Sanders, a couple of milestones for him there on that one. Deshaun Jackson, he passes Deshaun Jackson in 2008 for most scrimmage yards in Eagles rookie history, passing Deshaun's mark of 1,008, also passing LaShawn McCoy in 2009 with most rush yards for an Eagles rookie, 637. This is also the first 100-yard rushing game of his career. Let's talk about this Eagles rookie who continues to be a huge part of this offense.
Yeah, easily the best game of the season for Myles Sanders when you just look at it from a rushing standpoint. We've obviously watched him be explosive in the passing game throughout the season, but it was nice to see him today finally look like the back that they took out of Happy Valley last year in the second round where he had explosive runs. None bigger than the run that he had, I believe, on 3rd and 11 where he was able to, I think, dart for like 50-plus yards.
56 yards,
Second longest run of the season for him. Nice job by the rookie, really having his breakout game today.
And I think when you look at some of the struggles that he's had early in the season where it was, what is his vision like between the tackles? When things are a little bit tight, a little bit congested, there's a lot of traffic in the box, how is he going to be able to navigate through those creases? But on those plays, like that 56-yarder, that draw play, it's 3rd and 11. The defense is backed up. They're trying to play against the pass. Doug Pederson never runs the ball on 3rd and long, never runs the ball.
Nice play
he did it twice in this game, and they converted both times on those draws, again, where the running lanes are wide open. You're not worried about Myles Sanders pitter-pattering his feet or anything like that. It's just get it and go. This was Myles Sanders at his best.
Yeah, absolutely. A really exciting game from him. Boston Scott, a big contributor. When we talk about this offense coming into this game, what Fran and I were discussing was just the difference in the receiving core, and it's a lot of young guys. We have Greg Ward in there. We have J.J. Arcega-Whiteside in there. We've got Robert Davis from the practice squad promoted this week. Only receiver to catch a pass today was Greg Ward. He caught. Let's see. Well, he caught seven. I don't think that's correct. 7 passes.
About 7. It was somewhere around 7.
He caught 7 for 61, and then that little touchdown at the end of the game.
That was important. That was a big one. So the offense relying heavily on Zach Ertz, Dallas Goedert, Myles Sanders, and a lot of the other players not at the wide receiver position. What kind of evolution did you see? Here's my question. What kind of evolution did you see from this offense with being able to work with what they had today?
Well, I mean, that's where we're at right now, right? I mean, that's the way that they're going to have to play is that they've got 3 receivers active today. They targeted J.J. Arcega-Whiteside a couple of times, unable to come away with the catch. Robert Davis in his first game as an Eagle was not targeted. So essentially, I mean, that left Greg Ward. So that really was the Eagles' passing game. You had to rely on the run game. Saw a ton of screen passes. It felt like on every 2nd and long, they were running some kind of a screen, whether it was to Myles Sanders, Boston Scott, or Dallas Goedert. I can't wait to go back and watch the screen game tomorrow. But, I mean, that's the evolution of where they're at right now.
Yeah, I think evolution, evolving is the right word to use when you talk about this passing game as it pertains to Carson and these young wide receiver. Carson still trying to work to find trust and chemistry with these young guys. The one thing that I noticed with this offense today, there isn't a lot of trust on the outside. To play outside receiver in this league, you need separation, or you need to have a big body so that your catch radius is a lot wider for a quarterback to trust throwing the ball out there. The best corners are typically on the outside, and so in order for Carson to have trust throwing the ball out there, he's going to need to see some clear open windows, or he's going back to where he's familiar, and that's down the hashes with his 2 tight ends and even Greg Ward working the middle of the field. That's where he's most comfortable at right now in this passing game. It's still a work in progress. It is hard to play receiver on the outside, and a quarterback in this league is not going to trust throwing the ball out there. It's the furthest throws to make. It's the throws that the cornerbacks have more time to react to, and if you're not on the same page, that's a pick 6 back there. So not surprised that Carson didn't try to go outside as much today. He's more comfortable with these guys on the inside, and Greg Ward is beneficial of that because he's the slot receiver.
Yeah, I think that's a good point, because that was kind of my takeaway from watching as well, that he tried to go outside a couple of times. There was a couple of drops. There was a little bit of inaccuracy, whether that was on Carson, the receiver. But what really started to get them going was those quick passes, those short passes, the screen game, kind of working in the middle of the field, dink and dunk, and those little plays that just, death by 1,000 paper cuts. Is that kind of what
I mean, if you're looking at just the stats, he went 30 of 43, which is
a lot of passes.
That's about like 69, 70%. And I think when you look ultimately, it was a lot of the quick stuff. They ran a lot of screens, as I mentioned earlier. You saw a good amount of the quick game throws, hitches, slants. You saw a lot of that, shallow crosses, just things to get the ball out quickly. They did run a decent amount of shot plays. That's one thing I'm interested to see on film tomorrow. It did seem like off-play action. They wanted some things to develop downfield. Quentin Dunbar, the Redskins' #1 corner in this game, he was out. So it seemed like they wanted to try and see if they could create some things. Zach Ertz was on the receiving end on a couple of those. Dallas Goedert had that big one on the game-winning touchdown drive to Greg Ward. So we'll see how those developed a little bit. I'm excited to go back to the film and watch that. But no, the bread and butter was quick game, screen game, run game. That's really where the Eagles' offense was in this game.
All right, before we move on to talk about the defense, because obviously there's a lot to talk about there, let's get a little closer to one of the best passes I've ever seen from Carson Wentz to Myles Sanders, escaping the pressure, making the play last, and hitting Myles Sanders in the back of the end zone. An incredible throw, incredible catch, 15-yard touchdown in the third quarter. The only points we saw in the third quarter, Myles falling down, and then the beautiful celebration at the end there. What did you see on that one?
A rope. I mean, he put that thing on a line. Tight window in the back corner of the end zone. Carson Wentz just always seems like he's at his best when he's on the run, whether that's by design or whether it's on a scramble. And you could see on that play, that was more of a scramble situation where, that was not designed for him to get outside the pocket. The initial construct of the play breaks down. He's able to get his eyes up and was able to make a play. Myles Sanders also has to make a great catch and make himself available. You could see him in the back of the end zone kind of putting his hand up saying, like, hey, big fella, I'm back here, and making sure that he was in the passing lane.
Yeah, he put that ball through his chest. I mean, you're talking about a ball where you want to have the chance to catch it. Well, Myles, you had to basically defend yourself against that throw, because that throw was a laser right between the numbers. And that's where he's showing his athleticism. And this is where I think Carson, you just mentioned it, friend, he's at his best. I've always said, and this is not a knock against him, this is just who I believe he is. He's an athlete playing the quarterback position. He can throw the ball from all different arm slot angles, and when he rolls out to his right, that's where that old baseball, his old baseball playing days sort of come in. And that throw there to Myles Sanders, I mean, 2 Redskins defenders right there in the corner of that end zone, Myles Sanders in the back of the end zone, in order to put that ball in a position where Myles could catch it and really not have to lay out for it. Just really a pure athletic throw, and great job from Myles Sanders being able to catch that.
Yeah, really exciting stuff there. All right, let's shift to the defense a little bit. It felt like, look, the offense would get a score, the defense would not be able to come up with a stop. The defense would get a stop, and then the offense would turn the ball over. And it didn't seem like they were on the same page in that department today. They give 27 points to a Washington team that averaged 14 points per game coming into this. This was the NFL's 32nd passing offense, averaging 161.3 yards per game before this. Obviously not what Washington ended up with today, making rookie quarterback Dwayne Haskins look like a pro today. Where did the defense really struggle?
I thought they lacked intensity today.
Yeah.
Just watching them play. you're going up against a rookie quarterback that hasn't even played 16 full games yet, still trying to feel his way through this league. This is one of the worst offenses in the league when it comes to moving the ball, especially in chunk plays. And I was real surprised that we weren't able to get after Dwayne Haskins back there in the pocket, make him a little more comfortable. Now, the Redskins don't turn the ball over a ton because they try to get the ball out of his hands quickly.
Yep.
But the idea that they were able to run the ball at times, which set up some of their throwing ability, I just thought our defense didn't really play with the intensity that I watched them play with against New England, when I watched them play with against Seattle. The last couple of weeks, it's been missing a little bit. Yeah, the last couple, the second half of that New York game.
The second half of the New York, yes.
Yes, I would agree there. And maybe it's, when you're going up against an offense that doesn't necessarily pose a big threat to you, they don't have a bunch of big names over there that make you stay up at night, you can sometimes have a false sense of security, right? And you kind of think the game is going to come easy to you. But you noticed in that first quarter, even after Washington's first or second drive, they had confidence and they realized that they can move the ball a little bit. And that rookie wide receiver, Terry McLaurin, I mean, my goodness, I'm glad we don't play them anymore this year because he's killed us for two games. Two games. He's had a good game against us.
I thought the tackling today wasn't great.
Yeah.
That was one of my takeaways just watching the game live, was that they consistently were not able to get, whether it was Adrian Pederson or any of the receivers. We saw the missed tackle on Terry McLaurin's long catch and run for the touchdown on the second drive. To me, the big thing was that Washington was able to consistently stay on schedule. They were only 4 of 10 on third down, but they only had 10 third down conversions. So that means that they were having success on first and second down. And so when I look at this Eagles defense, it was not the performance I think we expected. I do want to give a little bit of credit, I think, to Washington, that coaching staff. Good game plan. They got the ball out quickly more often than not. We saw the option run game with them, which we hadn't really seen on film. So we saw a handful of option runs that went for some big gains. Haskins had that big one for 20-plus yards. So I think when you look at that, okay, tip of the cap. They're playing with 3 rookie receivers, too. We heard plenty of that on the broadcast. Everybody that was watching at home heard that. But I think when you look at the way that they wanted to play, that played into this Eagles defense and some of the strengths and weaknesses that they've got.
Yeah, I thought they called a good game for Dwayne Haskins, put him in a situation to succeed. You could see his confidence growing, using Adrian Peterson there as well to kind of get things more balanced there.
The man still can run.
Still can run. Gotta love
think you can go out there and
No, I don't want to tackle anybody.
You don't want to suit up?
I tackle Fran, though, in here. Though.
You basically did.
Basically did. All right, Ike, let's get into your takeaways. What's your first takeaway of this?
Well, listen, I'll start on the offensive side of the ball. Coming into this game, it was going to be Wentz and the kids, and how would they be able to do, excluding Zach Ertz, who we know is a veteran, Pro Bowl, All-Pro type tight end. The rest of the young guys on offense are basically first and second year players. Throw in Dallas Goedert along with the young wide receivers and a rookie at the quarterback position, and really a guy who's in basically his rookie year, really his second year in Boston Scott. I thought they did a nice job today. We talked earlier about the outside guys, Arcega-Whiteside and Robert Davis not being a big part of the game, but they were a part of the running game, right? To be a receiver in this offense, you have to be able to block. They did a nice job for Myles Sanders and Boston Scott being able to run the football. I thought that was a huge part of the offensive success this year, because you couldn't rely on throwing the ball as much. And then Greg Ward with the big touchdown catch late in the game, tracking that ball in the corner of the end zone. Nice throw from Carson, too, putting that ball up and dropping it in the bucket for Greg Ward.
Same touchdown, or same throw, same play call that they ran against Miami a couple of weeks ago, where Nelson Aguilar on the 2-point conversion late in the game. Obviously, they did not win the game, but same play, same throw from Carson. It was a great throw that time to Nelson as well.
Yeah, it was cool to see Greg Ward have that moment as well. And you talk about Boston Scott and Myles Sanders involved in the running game and the passing game. The 2 leading rushers of this team, of course, obviously Myles Sanders with 122 yards, and then Boston Scott 6 carries for 26 yards. But he was really more involved in the passing game. Seven targets, 7 catches, 39 yards for his longest one of 12 yards there, averaging 5.6 yards a catch. So showing some versatility there as well.
And listen, we got a few games left in this season, hopefully a few more in January. But the formula for success for this offense offense is going to be right down the hashes, right? It's going to be that offensive line blocking in the run game for these two running backs. Hopefully we get Jordan Howard back here soon. And it's going to be your two tight ends. These are your best offensive skill position players. And sure, you're going to do a courtesy and try to get the ball outside at times or maybe throw a deep ball down the middle. But your bread and butter over the next few weeks is going to be Ertz, Goddard, Sanders, and Boston Scott with a sprinkled in a little bit of Greg Ward there. That's how you're going to have to win. And it's going to start with those guys up front, being able to establish the line of scrimmage in the run game and the passing game.
That's what will be. If they can get Jordan Howard back this week,
he'll be a part of that group. Be a big part of that group. Yeah.
Huge. Yep. I thought this was maybe Dallas Goedert's best game of the season.
Made some nice catches.
Essentially, yeah.
Five catches, 55 yards, and that one on the game-winning drive, the one hand to that was. We've seen a lot of guys not catch that ball on this team, and for him to lay out like that with the one hand, I thought one of the better games we've seen from him.
That's what we've been asking for all season is, the receivers, the guys, whether it's tight end, running back, or wide receiver, whoever it is, make some tough catches. Make some tough catches for the quarterback because he can't do it all himself. There are going to be plays that Carson Wentz is going to be off target. You want guys to be able to come up with those catches, and Dallas on that play came up with a big one.
Yeah, it's a part of the game of football. Friend, you watch plenty of tape, and you know every throw isn't going to be perfect, and sometimes your playmakers got to go out there and help your quarterback, and that was a play there. Not that the throw was off. You really had two guys run into each other. Had they not run into each other, Goddard would have been up on his feet and caught that ball right in stride. But a nice job by Dallas being able to go down, make that catch, great concentration. And I thought Greg Ward made some tough catches in traffic. And that's what you're going to need. This is going to be a collective effort. And sure, there's enough on the quarterback's shoulders that he's going to need to make plays, but he's going to need his buddies to step up and help him out every once in a while.
The kids.
Yeah, Carson and the kids.
Look, I think this is the happiest I've ever seen you.
It's been, Amy, we went through about a month there where we sat here and broke down loss after loss after loss. And you know what? I'm starting to get some joy again out of this football season. Back-to-back wins. You got a big game coming up next week. As a fan, this is what you want. You want to be playing meaningful football this time of the year with a chance to go in the playoffs. As tough as this season has been on the Eagles, we still find ourselves right in the thick of the playoff race.
I will say, watching games with Ike, wins hurt more for me. I'm in physical pain as we see.
Physically, well, it's hard.
I need to go to the ice tub, down the hall, right after.
Toughen up, friend.
Oh boy! All right, let's get to your next takeaway.
Well, we've been talking enough about him. Can't talk enough about him. Myles Sanders, rookie running back. Great to see him have really his best game as a pro through the air and on the ground. This is why you draft a running back this high in the second round. Second running back taken overall behind the Raiders' Josh Jacobs. And we're starting to see why in the second half of the season. A little bit of a slow start in the first half of the season, playing behind Jordan Howard, sort of in a situational sort of game plan where he gets a lot of the passing plays on the outside. Well, since Jordan Howard has gone down, they've relied on Myles Sanders a lot more, and it's great to see him come out and answer the bell this week through the air and on the ground. I know we marvel at what he did on the ground today, especially with that big run on third down. But, man, I can't think enough about that catch in the back of the end zone. As a running back, this is a guy coming out of college, wasn't necessarily known for his hands. And so to see him catch that ball in the back of the end zone, it's pretty good. Happy for him.
Let's watch it again. Let's watch it. I could watch that 100 times.
Well, Amy, you and I, we talked with James Franklin, the head coach at Penn State, right after the Eagles drafted him. He said one of the big pieces of feedback he had gotten all spring from NFL teams, not just the Eagles, but all spring, was, man, we really can't wait to get this guy on the field in the passing game. And he said they were kicking themselves for not using him more in the passing game. And we've seen that come to fruition this season, what he's been able to do. I think when you look at this game, 13 targets for the running backs from Boston Scott and Myles Sanders, 13 catches. I think that comes from scramble drill. We saw that on that touchdown. Yeah. You get that from the screen game, and you get that from misdirections, all those different jet sweeps and little play actions where he kind of dumps it off. Check downs were a big part of it as well. So you got to give a lot of credit to the coaches and Carson Wentz as well. 13 targets, 13 catches for the backs.
Absolutely. And just for those guys to show that they are reliable in that way, that just builds the trust and the confidence. The more you prove that you're ready for that opportunity, the more you're going to get that opportunity. Yep. I mentioned those milestones for Myles Sanders. I don't mean to keep doing that, but it's just
you should keep doing it.
I should keep doing it.
Yes.
This is for you. We need a counter, like ding. Those are big names. Deshaun Jackson, LaShawn McCoy, big names around here. Can you guys put that into perspective a little bit more of how big of a deal is it for a rookie to, in one game, pass both of those guys on those different?
Especially those two guys. And I can remember their rookie years where, they were, Shady came and obviously had Brian Westbrook still here, so he was more of a compliment until late in that year. But I remember Deshaun coming in, and he was like our best receiver as a rookie. He finished that year with over 900 yards, almost 1,000 yards receiving. First two games, I believe he had over 100 yards receiving as a rookie. So you're talking about two of the franchise best players ever. And when I remember their rookie years, they were electrifying. And Myles' year didn't necessarily start off that way, but I love the fact that he stuck with it, and he's gotten better as the year has gone on, and he's becoming an even more important part of this offense. And if they're going to get in the playoffs, they're going to need him to continue to do that. So people, they're a little reluctant to take a running back high in the draft, and when you get one in the second round, you almost want him to be what is quote-unquote called a 3-down back. Myles may eventually evolve into that, but right now I think he's everything that this team needs, and it was good to see him have a good game today.
Yeah, we're getting closer to hearing from Coach Doug Pederson. I'm sure he'll be talking about Myles Sanders as well. About 45 seconds before we're going to have Doug.
Well, you know what I remember from LaShawn McCoy's rookie year was all the complaining from the fans or the media of, he tries to bust everything outside. His vision. Yeah. What do we hear about Myles Sanders early on in his career? A lot of the same things. I think that's kind of interesting.
Look, it's just a young player. And look, for me, it says a lot about Myles Sanders that he continues to overcome that adversity and find a role for himself. All right, let's hear from Coach.
Fall behind again, you got to come back, you got to flip a switch late. After the emphasis you put on, of trying to avoid a letdown, disappointed that you didn't quite have the juice in the first half that you would have liked?
I think sometimes you don't realize how important and how much these guys put into the week of practice and preparation. We played till about 11:30 p.m. Monday night, over 90 plays on offense. Defense was close to 60 plays, 50-something plays on defense. It's a tough thing. Physically, that's a tough thing. That was my concern coming into this game. That's why I went a little up-tempo early offensively to try to jumpstart and try to counteract that. But I'm just so proud of the guys. This is a great team win. We hung in there. We battled for 60 minutes. I mean, it took 60 minutes to win this game, and my hat's off to our guys in the locker room.
So what does it say about your offense in the second half? And you've got Greg Ward, Boston Scott, Myles Sanders, a lot of young guys making plays on that final drive. Is this one of the more rewarding wins as a coach with all these guys? Some guys on the practice squad this year?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just so happy for those three guys you mentioned. Obviously, Myles Sanders, I believe, set a rookie record today for scrimmage yards, I believe, or total yards as a rookie. And I mean, to see these guys and the energy and the excitement, the enthusiasm, it's great to see them, perform and play well, and they're disappointed when they don't make plays, and they're excited when they do. And the guys, it just seems to kind of energize the entire team. But we have a lot of improvement, to do, a lot of things to work on and correct. But they all three of those guys had impacts in this game, obviously.
Doug, what does that say about your team that you guys were able to, Carson specifically, 2 weeks in a row now, have game-winning drives?
Well, yeah, I'm proud of Carson and obviously leading this team and giving us that opportunity down and getting us back into the game, and then obviously the game where it's just I think it's just signs of as we mature as a group, as we understand this game, and this game it's a great game, and it's just hopefully it's we don't want to make it this hard all the time, but at the same time it's good to see him lead this football team like he has the last couple of weeks.
How big for Myles in terms of how he's now just like hitting those holes? He's just kind of not hesitating like we saw maybe earlier in the season.
I just think it's experience, just seeing it over and over again, getting the reps during the week, being the guy, so to speak, he's gotten and working with Deuce and constantly, in the classroom and taking it to the practice field and just spending time with him. And, through, even though he's technically a rookie, through experience, you get better each week and each time you touch the ball.
How difficult of a throw and catch was that touchdown Carson had to Myles in the corner there?
Yeah, I mean, we had a feeling that they might bring some pressure, and we scored actually to Zach Ertz on the same play earlier, and I think in the third quarter or maybe the fourth quarter there. Yeah, same end zone. So, gosh, it was just a great two, individuals making a play at the same time, and difficult from the standpoint of a quarterback having to put the ball with the right amount of air on it, and then difficult from Greg's standpoint with a guy hanging right on him to go up and elevate and come down with the ball. Greg made some big plays, whether it be on third down or obviously that touchdown at the end in this game, and it's exciting to see.
Hey, Doug, Greg Ward obviously had, I think, 4 catches on that final drive. Was a lot of that planned, or is that just Carson going through his progressions, or what made you believe Greg could step up in that type of moment?
For yes, my wife, favorite player. No, I think as the game just evolves, you get a feel and a sense of not only players but the game itself, and even as a play caller, you have to get into the game and the rhythm and the flow, and and then just talking with Mike Groh. And getting ideas and suggestions from him and putting all that together. It just sometimes it's it's the hot hand. It's definitely Carson, feeling more comfortable with Greg obviously and trusting and just making nice accurate throws. But it's not really. It's more about just being in the flow of the game at that time than it is dialing up, I think, specific plays for specific guys.
Have we seen Carson take a couple of steps forward the last couple of weeks? That there's every indication early in the season that he had trouble with these situations. Then last week with a bunch of guys that he probably wasn't very familiar with, he wins. And then this week, after fumbling the ball away and giving them life, he comes back and kind of does something else, does something different. Have we seen a step forward for him?
I mean, I think so. I think he continues to improve every week. From that standpoint. And listen, there's not a lot that really just bothers him or the team or the offense. I mean, we know that bad things, negative plays are going to happen, and you saw it again today. We overcome and we hang together, we hang tough, and we find a way to win the game. And I think in Carson's case, that's exactly who he is. That's what we know he is as our quarterback and our leader. And it's really great to see from his standpoint that stuff doesn't bother him. He gets mad. He goes the other way as far as, put it back into my hands. I want to win the game. So that's the confidence that we have in him.
Doug, on the long run by Myles, it was 3rd and 11. You're in your own zone. It's a draw, so a lot of times those are kind of viewed as like give-up type plays. I'm not accusing you of that. But what was your thinking on that play call at that time?
Get the first down.
Doug, no. Really?
Really? That's. I mean, you guys again don't understand game plan and understand scheme and how the Redskins or our opponents try to defend in certain situations. And we had an option to kill it to a pass if we wanted to. We had an alert there, so got the look we wanted and worked out.
Doug, no knock on these last 3 weeks of lead-up games, for want of a better term. But are you glad that Dallas is now in front of you in that? This week, you don't have to worry about motivation. You don't have to worry about letdowns. You have to worry about the mental aspect of it. Is that going to be kind of good to just coach leading up to a game that everyone understands what it is?
I think where we were just a couple weeks ago, we understood as a team. We kind of dug ourselves, into a hole, and we knew what was in front of us. Every week was a playoff type game. I mean, it was a must-win game, and it's just the way our schedule is right now. Obviously, we're finishing with the last 2 and now the 2 in front division games. But it's something that it's what we dealt. We dealt ourselves this situation. So I don't think it's going to take much motivation. This week our guys are excited to get through this game and this win. It's difficult to win in this league, and especially in our division. And we just gotta come to work this week again in preparation for another hard-fought battle at the link.
What's the message there, or the big takeaway there with Carson's fumbles?
Well, I mean, obviously we got to continue to talk and you know, show them through tape study, watch the film, see if there's a place to go with the ball, and just learn from it. Continue to learn, continue to grow. I mean, listen, it's, you know, as many times as we ask our quarterback that we put the ball in his hands. I mean, plays like that are going to happen. Obviously, we try to minimize them, but we're just going to continue to talk with him and just work with him, and he understands, he knows, and that we can't put ourselves in that situation.
You had a large number of your fans here today, which wasn't the first time for that in this stadium for you. When you see that now, is it less surprising to you to see them here?
Our fans travel well, no matter where we are, or whether we're on the West Coast or here on the East Coast. I mean, our fans are tremendous, and they support our guys and our team, and it was exciting to see today, and they really energized our guys, obviously, to be here, and it was exciting to see. And again, my hat's off to them, the fans that traveled and came down here or flew into this game. Hats off to them because they were a big part of this win as well.
That's good defense. You gave up big plays again. Again, it seemed like your defensive secondary struggled at times. I mean, is that just kind of who you are and you have to live with it? What can you do going forward against a team that's pretty familiar with you and has had success against your secondary?
Well, and that's the only thing is, I mean, we're in week 15, and I mean, we're playing our division and we're playing them for the second time, so. You got to give credit to our opponent. Obviously, they study the tape as well, and I thought Haskins really stepped in, did a nice job really today, and led his team. I mean, it was something that you know that he's capable of doing that, obviously, and he's in this league for a reason. And we've got to do better. We've got to look at the tape, make the corrections, and we got to tighten some areas up.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Okay, thanks, guys.
Okay, Coach Doug Pederson adding the perspective there. We are also waiting to hear from Carson Wentz, and Myles Sanders will be taking the podium as well. And we're about to hear from Greg Ward, who had the game-winning touchdown catch in this Eagles win. He is one-on-one with Eagles insider Dave Spadaro after the game.
G. Ward, how you feeling right now? Is this everything you've worked for?
Yes, sir. Everything I worked for, man. I'm blessed. That's all I can say right now is that I'm blessed.
Tell me about the last play going up and getting the touchdown catch.
We actually called that play before, and we scored on it, and I was naked. And called it again, and I was able to make the play.
Greg, you were the go-to guy going down the stretch here. I mean, you got to feel great about how much progress you made and how much trust you and Carson have built up with each other.
I mean, yeah, we always work, man. We always talk. We always working. Whenever we go into the lab, man, it's all business, and it's paying off right now.
You feel like this offense had really good rhythm in the second half? Every time just going down the field, putting points on the board.
Definitely, man. It was just small mistakes that was pushing us back, man. But God is good, man. We came out with the win tonight.
How big is this win for this Philadelphia Eagles football team?
It's really big. We out here fighting for our lives right now. So we just got to keep fighting, man, and making it happen.
Thanks, Greg. Congratulations.
All right, a very exciting team win, but a very exciting day for Greg Ward as well, a guy who has continued to grind it out and find a way to make some plays for this team. Ike, let's get to your third takeaway.
Yeah, great analogy there with the grind it out to find a way, because that's where I go with my third takeaway.
What?
The resiliency of this team. They found a way. It wasn't pretty. It was back and forth. Certainly we would like to have a comfortable win where you don't have to stress it out all the way to the end of the game. But like I mentioned earlier, this team will not afford us that luxury. But it's still...
There's always next week.
There's always next. Yeah, we're definitely taking next week.
We would take a comfortable win. Actually, any week would be fine with me.
But you got to give them credit for continuing to fight. A couple weeks ago, there was a lot of noise on the outside about this team as to whether or not the coach still had the ear of the team, whether or not they were still playing hard for him, for each other, whether or not they still believed in one another, and whether or not they could do something late in this season. Well, over the last 2 weeks, I think they've answered that call. In both of these games, early in the season, they may have lost these games, being down on themselves, not feeling or feeling sorry for themselves, but they continue to fight in both of these games, getting down 17-3 on Monday night, taking it to overtime and winning, and this game going back and forth, a critical fumble from Carson late in this game that allowed Washington to go up 27-24, and you're saying to yourself, oh my God, here we go. Well, let's get ready for next week. This team didn't do that. They decided to go out there and they found a way to get the go-ahead touchdown and then come up with the defensive touchdown to really seal the victory. So just really a resilient win from this team. Wasn't pretty. Well, it wasn't pretty. There's enough to learn from, but there's also enough there to feel good about and build on going forward.
Yeah.
I mean, say this. When that fumble happens, the defense turns around. One play, two play, three play, field goal.
Yeah.
If they let them drive the football there, if the defense allows them to go, even if it's a longer drive, 6, 7 play drive,
it's up more time.
The Eagles may not have time to score late in the game. So the defense did their job. We can say everything about the defense and what they did in this game. It was not their best outing, but ultimately they were able to come up big at the end of the game and hold them to 3 in a tough spot.
Did enough to get the job done. And, of course, you mentioned that defensive touchdown to seal the win from Nigel Bradham there with the scoop and score to ice this one.
A lot of people out there happy about that.
Yeah, you know what? We're going to hear from Nigel right now because he's one-on-one with Eagles insider Dave Spadaro.
Nigel, you finish off the game the right way. How you feeling right now?
Great. We're still going, man. We're just going to keep going. Keep fighting every week. These games been a lot closer than what we wanted to, but, hey, the main thing is we coming out with a win.
Hey, you had to get in the end zone there, right? Like, you were not going to be denied.
Couldn't be denied. For what this team been through all year, man, we can't be denied. We just got to keep fighting and keep going all the way through.
How big is a win, Nigel?
Amazing. Biggest one yet.
Okay, that is the best. That is sideline reporting at its finest. Stick a mic in an athlete's face, literally as he just ran, like 40 yards to the house, and he's huffing and puffing, and he's like, this win.
A lot of
this
one-word
win is
answers
great.
there. Yeah, a lot of one-word
That
answers.
is the sights and sounds of the game from the Eagles insider right there. I love it.
Linebackers not used to running that far, man. That's a long way for a backer to have to run.
When he came out, it was a huge play.
Yeah.
And like I said, at the end of it, he said every game, or this game was the biggest. Every game from now on is going to be the biggest.
Bigger,
Next week
right.
is a bigger game than one we just played.
Perfect transition to what I was about to talk about. Coach Pederson on the Dallas matchup, he was asked, hey, are you glad now that it's finally Dallas week and you can really focus on, what everyone's been asking you about? And he said, look, we understood. We dug ourselves into a hole. Every week has been a must-win for us. I don't think it's going to take much motivation, but huge win for the Eagles today. And, of course, a Dallas game against the Rams that we're going to be watching that score this afternoon. Just take us through the stakes of this one.
So if the Rams beat Dallas this afternoon, and you could be watching that right now, if the Rams as our second screen, keep our volume up and have that game on in the background.
We can have
but I think when you look
screens.
at that, if the Rams are able to win this game and it's tied up 0-0 as you can see right now, then next week we can clinch the division with a win. Now, if the Cowboys do beat the Rams, then next week, yes, it would be for the division lead, but it would not clinch the division. So you would still have to play everything to play for in Week 17. But if the Cowboys lose today and the Eagles win next week, Week 17 doesn't mean anything in terms of playoff seeding. Eagles are in.
Yeah, a lot on the line. I'm like, why? I'm looking at that box score trying to figure out the story of this game. LA's only rushed one time, but they've held the ball for 5 minutes. Okay.
A lot of game.
A lot of game. Like, oh my gosh.
Don't get Ike riled up about them.
We're trying to bring Ike back down to the floor.
I know we got a whole second half for that Cowboys-Rams.
All right, so we know Eagles Insider is all over the field post-game getting interviews. We also have him one-on-one with Avonte Maddox after this win. Let's take a watch.
Avonte, tell me about that last call. You came with the blitz and got home.
Just had to get to the quarterback. That was the main thing on my mind, was to get to him. I got to him and I was trying to throw him down. It looked like he threw it or something. But, just a good play. We needed that.
Very emotional effort by this team today, agree?
Yeah, definitely. On all sides of the ball, offense, defense, special teams, it was great to watch.
To win again late in the game, what does this mean kind of going into these final two games?
It means a lot, man. We got to keep this energy going, keep the wins going, and let's keep going 1-0 every week.
And all these Eagles fans in Washington, awesome, right?
I love it, man. They're everywhere. I love it.
Thanks, Avonte.
All right, a lot to celebrate after this win. We are waiting for Myles Sanders to take the podium again. A career day for this Eagles rookie, breaking multiple records, surpassing Deshaun Jackson for most yards in scrimmage by an Eagles rookie. That was in 2008 when Deshaun's record of 1,008 yards. He also passes LaShawn McCoy in 2009 with the most rushing yards for an Eagles rookie with 637, his first 100-yard rushing game of his career. He has 2 touchdowns, including one of the most beautiful catches I have ever seen, and major landmarks there from the Eagles rookie, and a lot to look forward to from this guy as well. Guys, you want to chime in at all while we wait to hear from him?
Yeah, and great game to have leading up to this next big stage, right? When you're going up against the Cowboys, they're going to be on a bigger stage next week, obviously with more at stake. And if you don't have Jordan Howard going next week, it's going to be great to have Myles Sanders coming off of this game with his confidence riding high, because we know what the Dallas team poses as a threat for this Eagles offense.
Yeah, a lot of opportunity there. And look, he's continued to be a weapon in both the run game and the passing game as he's carved out this role for himself. We saw just as he continues to be more and more productive for this Eagles team, which I love to see from a rookie if they don't come out swinging, to go through that adversity and say, look, I'm still going to work. I'm still going to continue to carve out a role for myself and continue to be a part of this offense. A guy that these coaches clearly trust, that Carson Wentz clearly trusts, because they are going to him again and again. Let's hear from Myles.
Myles, can you talk about your progression so far from week 1 to now in week 15? You had a great game today. Can you tell us how your rookie season has gone for you so far?
It's been good. Just like everybody's rookie season, it's been ups and downs. All I've been trying to focus is coming in every day to work and just trying to get better each week.
Myles, that touchdown catch you had, what did you see there? I mean, you just kind of worked open toward the back of the end zone.
Honestly, I don't know. I had a regular flat route. Carson started scrambling, so I tried to get in the back of the end zone, then tried to stay in the corner because the linebacker that was on me, he thought I was going to go across the end zone. So I'm happy Carson seen me and just tried to make a good catch.
What were you thinking when they called the draw, or Carson checked to the draw on 3rd and 10? What did you see when you got around that corner?
Well, they had a front where they had about 4 guys on the right side. It was like a big overload look, so I knew it was going to go to the left regardless, and then the end on the left side, added in. So I just tried to use my speed and get out and give what I can.
You set 2 Eagles rookie records today. You passed Deshaun Jackson for yards from scrimmage and LaShawn McCoy for rushing record. What does that mean to you?
It's a blessing, man. This stuff don't feel real, but I don't want to make this about me. It's great to be mentioned by those guys, be in the same conversation as those guys, but I was focused on getting this W, man. We know what we got at stake with us. We know what's in front of us, and I was just trying to get the W today.
The second straight comeback win for the offense. What does that do for the confidence of the offense overall?
There's a lot of confidence. We got a lot of our old guys banged up, so a lot of young guys stepping up, including myself. I'm still a young guy. I just love how Carson, he just trusts us. He's been that trust and confidence in us, and we're just going out there and making plays for him.
Myles, take us through the 56-yard run.
Yeah, like I said, they had a nice, big overload look. They had about 4. Yeah, that was a draw. Yeah, they had about 4 guys on the right side, so I already knew it was going to go to the left or hit right in the middle. The end just slanted in, and I just took it right out. So.
Myles, obviously with Jordan Howard out, Deshaun, Alshon Nelly, missing so many weapons, do you kind of go into the game kind of taking more on yourself? I mean, or do you just, I'm going to go do my thing? I mean, obviously they needed you to be big today.
I mean, obviously I'm going to go out there and do my job regardless, but when you got guys banged up like that and type of season that I'm having, I mean, I always got to lock in and say, let's just put the game on my shoulders and let's go ball out. But I can't do it without the O-line doing what they do. We got an all-star O-line, and they play a hell of a game today.
As a follow-up to that, Doug said he's seen that from you during his I'm sorry. As a follow-up to that, Doug said he's seen that from you these past few weeks, knowing you're the guy. Mm-hmm. Has that kind of clicked, obviously, with the battle? I guess not having Jordan out there, knowing that it's on you? Yeah, absolutely. And with Boston balling out last week, so got a nice rotation going on. So, but I know what the role that I got right now, and I'm just doing my job each week trying to get a W. That's all.
When you guys got the ball back with a little over 5 minutes left, down by a field goal and everything,
What was Carson like in the huddle? What were you guys like? Did you kind of feel like you needed to drain as much time as possible?
He's the same, man. He's steady Eddie. I love 11, man. I'm out there blocking, trying to give him time to make plays, and he's trusting all the young guys that's stepping up right now and putting that confidence in them, and we going out making plays for them.
I think that was the most carries you've ever had in a game. Obviously, the first time you've rushed for over 100 yards, and if need be, if they need you to be the workhorse.
I'm working my way to be that. I'm still a rookie, still learning, trying to get better each week. But this game was special, and like I said, it still feel like a dream to me. But I can't do it without the O-line, and everybody on that offense.
Can you describe what the atmosphere was like out there? It felt like an Eagles home game.
Yeah, it felt like a home game. I expect the same thing next week. You know what next week is, and I don't even got to say too much. And I expect the fans to be loud, super loud.
You said it seems like a dream. It doesn't seem real. What were your expectations coming into the season, and have you exceeded them?
My expectations was to just do whatever I can to help win games. That's what I said when I first got drafted, was to try and get this team a championship, and that obviously trying to get wins each week. So that's my job. That's really my job. But like I said, it's definitely a blessing breaking these records and being recognized, but trying to get the W.
We'll take a couple more questions.
What's it been like seeing the impact Greg Ward has made the last couple weeks, especially getting the winning touchdown today?
Great impact. We talk about this since training camp, with him being on the practice squad for a little bit, then being jumped up, being active, and he's been taking advantage of his opportunities. That's all I've tell him. He tells me that we've been talking about this since training camp, and he's just taking advantage of his opportunities.
You're so much more assertive on your runs now. There's almost like no hesitation hitting the hole. What would you credit to really? I know there were a few times maybe earlier some of those runs you would have liked to have had back. What do you credit to changing that this year?
Just Deuce being hard on me, man. He expects a lot out of me. He knows what I'm capable of. He knows the type of talent that I have, and I'm just listening to him. He's been through this. He's been through this, so it's not really not gonna harm me if I don't listen to him. He's been a great teacher, and I just try and get better each week.
We'll take one more from Zach, and then we'll wrap it up.
In following up on that 3rd and 10 play. When you get the ball there, that's not a high percentage play. Are you just thinking try to get the first down? Like, are you thinking big play? What's in your mind?
Absolutely. Especially if it's 3rd down and 10, and they trust me to put the ball in my hands. Yeah, I'm definitely trying to get the first down. But it opened up so wide. I just tried to get what I can. I actually tried to score, but my boy Monte caught me.
All right, thanks guys.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Okay, the Eagles running back on his career day. Very exciting stuff there from Myles Sanders. And just to me, a guy who just says all the right things, crediting his O-line, saying I'm just happy to contribute to this team, and on building the confidence with Carson Wentz. I thought it was a lot of cool stuff to hear from Myles.
Yeah, everything that you would want to hear, right, from a guy coming off a huge day. It was cool kind of getting to get a sense of his natural reaction to finding out about the rookie records that he broke with LaShawn McCoy and Deshaun Jackson. We got to see that at the very beginning of the press conference. But a guy that's got a bright future here in Philadelphia, no doubt.
Yeah, and look, it's a Pennsylvania kid, albeit grew up a Steelers fan, but he understands how big those names are around here. And so to be in that conversation, pretty cool. I also loved that he said about Carson in the huddle that he's the same no matter what point in the game, what's on the line, that he's steady Eddie is what he called him. And look, this is the 2nd game in a row we've seen a game-winning drive from Carson Wentz. How big do you think that is for this entire team's confidence?
I think it's big, and I think, honestly, the guys that are on the receiving end of those plays, the confidence is even bigger in those guys. I think everybody had confidence in the building in Carson Wentz. I think now seeing Greg Ward come up with a big game-winning touchdown, seeing Boston Scott make plays, seeing J.J. Arcega-Whiteside make the big catch last week down the right sideline against the Giants, seeing these other guys come up with big plays, I think that is the confidence now that this team needs and gets from seeing those young guys make those big plays. Yeah, we all love Carson. It's been good to see 2 game-winning drives. Who he's doing it with, I think, is the bigger takeaway.
Yeah, we're going to hear from Carson any minute now, but I want to hear your thoughts.
Completely agree with Fred. I think the biggest thing is the trust and the chemistry that's developing between Carson and these young guys. And as a veteran player, I was here when A.J. Finley had to go in there and play for Donovan back in 2001. Yeah, we all say the right things throughout the course of the week and support them, but until they actually go out there and do it, you never really know. So I think these young players having the success they've had the last 2 games, I think they are building confidence in their teammates that they can get the job done. So these veterans have a little less to worry about when it comes to the young guys. And I think Carson and those guys are working through it. I love hearing Myles talk about Carson's demeanor in the huddle because it's so important for those young guys to see how he's reacting to what's going on in the moment, how he reacts to that strip fumble, right? And they read that body language, and if he's going to have sort of a positive outlook and he's going to continue to be encouraging and exude confidence, they're going to feel that way as well. And I think that's exactly what happened. Once he was able to go gather himself after that fumble and realize that the defense only held him to a field goal, first thing he's saying to those guys on the sideline is, let's go win this football game. Yep. We can do it. Let's go win it. And because they just did it last week, they have the full confidence in one another.
This might be kind of a weird analogy, but do you ever cut yourself and it doesn't hurt until you look down and you see that you're bleeding? So maybe it's that same kind of thing to me where, until you see Carson looking nervous or not confident, then the young guys have no reason to think that there's anything to worry about. It's the same kind of thing. So when he portrays that confidence, it doesn't even occur to anybody that they shouldn't be confident. Well, how much does that translate to the defensive side of the ball? For you as a defensive guy, when you see that from your quarterback and your offense, what does that do for that side of the ball?
Well, I think it works the same. Right? Because there's going to be days that the defense is going to need the offense to bail them out, right? And there's going to be times like when the defense realizes that they just came up with arguably their biggest stop in the game, where they're able to hold that Redskins offense to 3 points. They give the offense the ball back, and you reward them by going down and scoring the go-ahead touchdown. It's huge. I mean, the defense coming off the game they played against the Giants where they shut them out in the second half, allowing the offense to get back in the game, that's pretty much what that defense is saying to themselves on the sideline is, let's give them one more shot, and they'll be able to go down there and get the job done. And that's what a quarterback can do. And I remember when Donovan, as a young player, when he didn't have a lot of help on the offensive side of the ball, we as a defense always felt like, get the offense the ball back and 5 will make a play for us. Just keep the game close. He'll make a play to win the game in the fourth quarter. So that's how huge of an impact that position has on the entire team.
We have a Dallas box score update, but I think Ike and I saw it in the corner over Fred's shoulder. Jason Witten touchdown.
Yes.
Yeah, we got the game on in here in the back corner here, and yes, Jason Witten. We're talking about ageless wonders today. Jason Witten putting 7 on the board for Dallas there.
A little happier this week so far after last week.
Oh, yeah, he was upset, last week.
A little happier, yeah. Interesting. Okay, so Dallas having the ball twice as long as LA there as well.
A lot of time left.
Yeah, a lot of time left. That's what we'll keep saying. We're gonna keep watching that as well as we wait for Carson Wentz. All right, I believe he's coming up in about 30 seconds. So what do I do when I'm waiting for Carson? I read the stats. 43 passing attempts. We talked about that. Completed 30 of those for 69.8%. Really good, solid completion percentage there. 266 yards. That's 6.2 yards per attempt. 3 touchdowns. The longest pass of 27 yards. 0 interceptions there. And, of course, another week, a consecutive game-winning drive for Carson. Let's hear about how that has affected his confidence.
Carson, it's been an up-and-down season this year. You still got a shot at the playoffs. What can you say about this group of guys you got?
Yeah, resilient. That's back-to-back weeks, down, kind of backs against the wall late in the game like that. And guys just stepped up and made plays, guys are resilient.
What'd you see on that touchdown pass to Myles in the corner of the end zone?
I just saw him sitting in the back, and I knew it was a tight window, and I had to let it rip. Got a little nervous when I let it go, but I was pretty excited after that one.
Let it go, did you know that it was going to get to him? Or?
I wasn't sure. Like I said, I got a little nervous, but once I saw it hit him in the chest, I was pretty stoked.
Not as hard as you throwing a pass, philosophy-wise?
On the run, probably, yeah.
You got 4 passes on that last drive, Carson. What were they doing defensively to kind of allow him to get open?
You talking Myles? Is that what you said? Yeah.
Greg Ward.
Oh, you said Greg. Yeah. Gosh, can't say enough good things about Greg. For him to just keep coming up big late in the game like that. They went man coverage a handful of times, and he beat his guy. You know, he beat his guy, and he was, you know, a part of the progression, and just kept making plays, and then for him to go up and get that ball and play that big in the red zone like that to seal the deal, that was sweet.
You guys obviously don't want to keep making it this hard on yourselves, or you just have a flair for the dramatic. But what does it say to be able to do this back-to-back weeks about the heart of the team?
Yeah, kind of just goes back to what I said earlier. Just team's resilient, and team's resilient. We realize, you know, our backs are against the wall just like last week. You know, and it's do or die right now, and make or break, and guys stepped up and kept making plays, and guys, you know, through the good, the bad, the ugly, guys just kept believing. You know, guys just kept believing. You know, I had the fumble, and everybody was, you know, cheering me up and getting me going, and defense had the big stop, and we just kept believing, kept looking at each other, saying we got this and we got it done.
Carson, is Myles farther along than you anticipated 14 games into his career?
Probably. Just, you know, the things that we ask of him. Really all season, but especially once Jordan went down, it's a lot. It's a lot. There's a lot on his plate, especially as a rookie. You know, he's picking up blitz protection, he's running the ball, he's catching screens, and he's routing people up and out of the backfield. You know, and he does it all so well. And you see, I mean, game in and game out, he's a big play machine for us, and he keeps getting it done. I'm so proud of the kid.
What happened on that late game fumble?
They made a good play, and I got to protect the ball. Yeah, I was trying to make a play and improvise, and I got to protect the ball better.
As much as you say guys were cheering you up, I assume you were pretty hard on yourself there. In that time in between, what were you thinking, and did you just want a chance to get the ball back?
Yeah, I mean, I was definitely frustrated at myself. You know, I got to protect the ball, especially given the situation we were in, put the defense in a tough spot. But, you know, like I said, guys just kept believing. I didn't lose faith or confidence at all, and just wanted one more chance. You know, wanted another chance to go down, and the defense gave that to us, and we got it done.
Anybody in particular who you attempted a touchdown pass in the center of the end zone in the back, where Zach and JJ kind of ended up in the same area? Was that a miscommunication there on that?
I don't think so. It was they made a good play. Yeah, they made a good play, and yeah, we didn't hit that one.
In that situation, is there anyone in particular who kind of you really appreciate their, you know, kind of coming up to you?
It was really everybody. You know, I kept going to the guys and say, hey, that's on me. We'll be better. And the guys say, hey, we believe in you. We got this. You know, and guys just kept staying upbeat and positive on the sideline, from players to coaches, the defense when I talked to those guys. So that's just the camaraderie and the bond that we have as a team, and for us to come together and keep believing in each other. That's what it's all about.
Can you describe the atmosphere? Can you describe the atmosphere out there? Because after the game celebration, you wouldn't have known you were on the road.
Yeah. It's starting to not surprise me to feel like it's a home game for us when we're on the road, just because of the way the Eagles fans travel. It's pretty cool. It's pretty special. Something we definitely don't take for granted.
The touchdown pass to Greg.
Yeah, he was you know, part of the progression there. It was actually a similar play that we scored earlier to Zach, and so he was the first read, and they had that side covered, so it was just reset and find Greg running across the field there, and I just put it up. I knew he had a step on Josh and put it up and gave him a chance, and it was so sweet to see him go up and get that ball.
Your kind of chemistry developed. It's only been 3-4 weeks with Greg, and to have that success in that big a spot, how does that make you feel moving forward that you can trust him?
Yeah, I mean, it means a lot, you know, for him to not just step up and make plays, but given the situation we were in, you know, that late game drive like that, for him to keep making plays. But, you know, shoot, he's been here for a couple of years now. Obviously, he's been on the practice squad and kind of been all over. And we've seen what he can do. You know, shoot, he was down there this summer when we were having summer workouts together. So I've been around Greg plenty, you know, and I know what he can do and what he's capable of. And for him to do it today, it was big for us.
What made Greg the guy on the final drive there? What made him the target?
It just kind of the way the plays developed, you know, the way the play developed each time. He was a part of the progression, and, you know, they played a handful of man coverage on that drive, and he kept making plays. He kept beating his guy, getting open and making plays, and yeah, it was pretty cool. I'm pretty proud of him.
Carson, the last 6 quarters that you guys have played offensively, the way you've won these last 2 games, is this offense in your mind about as confident or playing about as well as it has all season?
You could make that argument. I think just the way coach is calling it, and guys are just really believing in each other and rallying around each other, from, you know, the run game, the passing game, and really everything. There's obviously plays that we want back every week, you know, without a doubt. Last week in the second half, and today a handful of them, but you could say our confidence is very high right now.
Carson, what has the last few weeks meant for you personally? I mean, you hadn't done it before
last week all season, and now back-to-back big comeback wins and must-win games. What's it mean to you?
Yeah, it means a lot to me and really everybody. I think just to come from behind, like I said, like I talked about last week and talk about it again, backs against the wall. Backs against the wall. There's a lot at stake, and to have an opportunity late game like that, to finish it off, to get it done, like I said, it means a lot to me and to this team.
You have a couple must-win games coming down the stretch. Do you feel that your week routine is more intensified during practice and walkthroughs?
We try to not change anything. I think that's one of the biggest things is you try and be the same. Win, lose, draw, given whatever the circumstances are, we prepare the same. And for us, that's going to stay the same this week. We realize what week it is. We realize what's at stake, but we're going to keep our normal routine and go get it done.
In talking with Mayor Kelsey said momentum's a real thing. Is that something you believe too, and are you feeling that?
Yeah, for sure. I think, going back to the second half of last week, I think that momentum for us offensively, to kind of find a groove. It's been an interesting season for us offensively, and to start finding a rhythm and finding a groove, I think that carried over today as well.
Did you in particular lack confidence at any point this season?
I don't think so. No. I've been extremely confident in myself and the guys around me. Like I said, it's been an interesting offensive season for us, ups and downs, and just struggled finding a rhythm and being consistent for a while. But, like I said earlier, I think our confidence is in a really good place.
Considering all the challenges and the ups and downs, now you sit here with a chance to play Dallas for the division title. Have you thought about that, what that means for you?
Yeah, it's exciting. Shoot, the last couple weeks, it's backs against the wall, and that doesn't change. That doesn't change, and we got Dallas coming in, and we know what that means to this city each week, regardless of the circumstances, but we also know the circumstances and what's riding on it as well. So we'll be ready, and we'll be excited.
Take two more questions.
On the 56-yard run, Doug said you had the option to kill it into a pass.
Yeah.
I assume the look made you want to stay with the run, but are you thinking there, like, let's try to get the first with the pass, or what's going through your mind?
Yeah, I was just trusting the call. Trusting the call. I thought we had a good look for the run, and it ended up being a little hairy, but Myles made a play. And you saw that on the other draw earlier in the game. And so that's what it came down to, is guys just making plays in those big moments like that. And for me, it was just trusting in the play call and letting it ride. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. I love that. Letting it ride from Carson Wentz. Great to hear the thoughts of the Eagles quarterback after an exciting win on the road. All right. Enough of all this. It's time for my favorite part of the show, Merrill Cam, a compilation of the voice of the Eagles, Merrill Reese and Mike Quick, calling this Eagles win over Washington 37-27. Let's take it away.
This time again, it's a quick pitch to Sanders, and he is in for the touchdown, and the Eagles regain the lead. Back goes Wentz. He's looking. Now he starts to roll. He's going to run. He is running, and he's firing, and it is incomplete.
That's a touchdown.
Oh, no. Is it? They are calling it a touchdown to Myles Sanders. Myles Sanders caught it on the far side of the field. Wentz looked like he was going to run through it on the far side of the field, and Sanders just stayed in. Wentz gives off to Sanders. Sanders running with the football. He's got a first down and more. He's at the 50. He's at the 40. He's at the 30. He's inside the 20. He's down to the 16. Myles Sanders. He's doing it by himself today.
He's a beast.
Wentz back. He floats it. It's caught. Touchdown! Touchdown! Who else? Zach Ertz.
Yeah.
Haskins is back. He's looking. He steps up. He's hit. He tries to lateral the ball. It's picked up. Running with the football down the sideline is Branham. And Branham goes all the way into the end zone. Touchdown. It's over.
Turn the lights out. Turn out the lights. This baby is over.
It really does not get better than those two. All right, we are going to take a quick break, Fran. We will catch up with you a little bit later in the show with the Rico review. It's going to be an exciting one. We will see you on the other side. All right, you are watching the Postgame Show presented by Rico. Before we get to today's Rico review, a quick score update. The Rams are on the board. It is all tied up in Dallas 7-7 after a Todd Gurley touchdown. We will be keeping an eye on that one. I know all Eagles fans are. And now for today's Rico review, it's Myles Sanders, who made some big plays today, breaking some records, cementing his name in the history books in Eagles lore in his rookie season. Take it away, Fran.
All right, well, let's fast forward now to the Eagles' next drive, and they're down by a score of 7-3. They just allowed a big catch and run for Terry McLaurin. So Myles Sanders has a couple of big runs on this drive to get the Eagles into the low red zone, and that's where we go here. It's 2nd and goal down in the goal line. I want you to just see how the Eagles line up here, because there's multiple tight ends on the field. You've got Dallas Goedert, you've got Zach Ertz, and Josh Perkins. The number one thing I want you to watch for is that Carson Wentz is under center. And what do we know that the Eagles love to run when they're in short yardage situations with the quarterback under center? Quarterback sneak, right? And so you're going to see Washington, they're loading this box. They are trying to do everything they can to make sure Carson Wentz is not going to run this in on us here and get into the end zone. In the meantime, that means they bust this coverage, because what you've got here again on the top of the screen is you've got 2 defenders for Washington against 3 potential Eagles receivers. All Carson Wentz is going to do is take the snap and toss this play out to the right side. You're going to see Myles Sanders, we can let this run, is just going to take this little toss play. It's a quick little sweep, and now he's got a caveat of blockers out in front, and he's able to jump into the end zone to put the Eagles ahead. And this all started with a lot of big runs on this drive from Myles Sanders. Rookie had a really nice day here in the first half.
All right, thank you, Fran. And everyone, we are going to take another quick break. On the other side, we have our nominees for the Toyota Player of the Week. Don't miss your chance at winning a free Toyota. We'll be right back. And now is your chance to vote for the Toyota Player of the Week. Go to PhiladelphiaEagles.com/Toyota Player of the Week to cast your vote and get a chance at a brand new Toyota. And here are the 3 nominees for this week's Toyota Player of the Week. No surprise here, Myles Sanders, of course, with all of the records broken by him tonight. Greg Ward as well, a career game for him. And Carson Wentz for putting this team on his back and getting it done with the kids, as Ike likes to say. 3 really good nominees. All 3 of these guys had excellent games here, but I think it's pretty obvious, at least to me, who should get the nod here. I got to go with Myles Sanders.
Yeah, I think you're right on this one, Amy. I got that term, Carson Wentz and the kids, from John Clark.
Okay, all right. Well, we got to give him
I'll give him credit for that.
Yes.
But I think I agree with you. You got to go with Myles Sanders. All 3 guys certainly are deserving. But when you have a day like Myles had through the air and on the ground, got to go with the rookie.
Yeah, I think you have to. Look, and Greg Ward with the touchdown catch to seal the win, or to put the Eagles ahead. Nigel Bradham really, I think, sealed the win there. But and of course Carson
Nigel made a lot of people happy today.
Nigel made a lot of people happy, and probably some people not so happy. Anyways, yes, let's talk about what we all have been talking about all season and kind of skirting around, but it is about to be December 22nd. That is the next game. It is the NFC East on the line. The Cowboys are coming to Philadelphia. We keep looking ahead, but not really because, hey, it's a one-game season. We just got to win the week. It is now time. We can throw away all of that, all of those formalities, and we can talk about the Cowboys, the next game. And, of course, the Eagles now 7-7, and the Cowboys are in the middle of the game right now, all tied up. Oh, nope, they are up 14-7. In Dallas on the Rams, and we're all going to be watching that one as well.
Tavon Austin just scored a touchdown.
Tavon Austin, hope you started him.
Big game. Big game, though, right, Amy?
Yeah,
you're right.
Initial thoughts?
We've been talking about this game for weeks, saying that this will be the pivotal game. This will be the game that will decide who wins this division. And looks like it's pretty much going to play itself out to be that way. We'll see what the final score is today, and that will determine whether or not the final game of the season becomes important as well. But next week against the Dallas Cowboys, that's the game we want. The Cowboys, I think, put the worst whooping on the Eagles this year. What was that, 37-10? I believe that score was in that game on Sunday night, where the Eagles come out the first 2 drives of the game, turn the ball over, and it was pretty much over.
They were down 14 points within like 5 minutes. Yeah, it was very quick. I was going to say, that was pretty much the end of the game right there. So, and we are a little undermanned. I think the Cowboys have the better team on paper because they have all of their guys healthy at this point. But you know what? This is where you throw all that stuff out the window, and you're getting the opportunity for a scenario that you could have only dreamed of about a month ago when this team did not look very good. And that's to have an opportunity to beat the Cowboys for a chance to be in first place in this division on your home field. Can't wait to next week. Can't wait to next week. Well, look, we know the stakes are high, but potentially even higher if Dallas doesn't get the win tonight. Then that gives Philadelphia the opportunity to clinch next week. And, of course, we know how good the Eagles are at home. This game played on the home turf in South Philadelphia. And, of course, we will be right back here to break that game down, to preview it on the Kickoff Show presented by Exalted. That'll be 30 minutes before kickoff, 3:55 next week. And as always, Ike will be joining me on the Postgame Show presented by Rico. I hope we see you as happy as you are today. Next week. This has been one of our most fun shows because we just, a lot of giggling going on in here.
I don't know. I'm giddy.
He's just giddy. That's what happens when you get a good win like this. All right, we will see you all next week. We know it is the big one. We will be talking about Dallas all week long. We'll see you in a week.